Hello, good morning. Welcome to Walsh's Playbook. That's former Raiders offensive coordinator Tom Walsh with a microphone. As you can see in the bottom left corner of his screen, he has a microphone. This is going to be the best Walsh's Playbook ever. I'm Grant Cohn, and this is a serious episode. We've been doing this all year. There's no secret why the Niners are playing so well. They're just being coached so impeccably every week. The game plan is great. Mostly because of Tom Nye. So this is the week that it really matters. They got to beat the Seahawks. If they win, they get the number 1 seed. If they lose to Sam Darnold, I don't know that they can emotionally recover. So we really got to be at our best. So Tom, before we get into this game, I think we need to address what happened a few days ago against the Bears. The offense was great. We don't really need to talk about that. What we do need to talk about is the defense, because poor Robert Saleh felt like nothing he did worked until like the last play. What did you see from the Niners defense? How many issues do they have?
Oh, Grant, it was so frustrating. I was sitting there watching going, you got to be kidding me. Where are your adjustments? Where's the contain? Even in the blitzing off the slot, Robert was allowing 2 Bear receivers to outflank the safety coming down the invert, and it was easy pickings for Caleb Williams just to pick the ball up and throw it out to his right to the flat and gain 5, 6, 7 yards. And then to go the whole game, and they lost contain. And then a couple times, even when the player had the edge and had the contain, the guy Robert has playing the defensive end position, especially on the defensive right side. I won't name names and throw out numbers, but my God, it was like sundial speed to watch this guy try to run and make a play on the perimeter. And I'm going like, oh my God, at least put somebody with the speed to be able to make the contain, to make the play on the edge, because you're giving up the perimeter at will for the Bears.
Yeah,
and so it was a frustrating game.
The edge rushers were.
It was frustrating.
Yeah, Caleb Williams could just dance around whoever the edge rushers were. It's interesting. The Niners have the worst pass rush in the league. Like, that's a fact. Statistically, they have the fewest sacks of any team by far. And they can't even keep the quarterback in the pocket. I mean, you're not going to sack him, but could you at least keep him stationary so he can't extend the play forever like Caleb Williams did?
Well, the problem also, Grant, is when you have your 4-man front and you try to play a balanced 2-by-2 set with the 4 rushers, somebody has to be an A and a B gap rusher. You cannot have both tackles take the B gaps or work out to the C gaps, and then you got 2 edge rushers coming off, and Huff blows up the field, and he's getting just squished on the edge. He's getting outmanned, out-physicaled. He's not winning on the edge.
I think we're seeing why the Eagles gave up on him.
Correct. I hate to say it, but I just don't see him flashing anymore. I don't see him as a difference maker coming off the edge. And Darnold is not the most mobile of all the quarterbacks, but if you give him time, he's going to complete passes. And the Niners can't get forward to even put a dent in the pass rush to even worry an offensive line. So it's going to be a mighty struggle for the Niners to be able to hold up with the way they're playing defense right now.
Yeah, they can't get pressure with 4. And instead of, like you always say, if you can't get pressure with 4, you bring 5. And if you can't get pressure with 5, you bring 6. He's not doing that. He's sort of accepting that they're not going to get pressure and trying his best to limit big plays, which had sort of been working. I think the Niners are ranked 8th in fewest explosive plays allowed. But last week, against an explosive offense, they got all kind of explosive plays. I mean, dropping all kind of people in coverage didn't work until finally the very last play from the 5-yard line with 5 seconds left.
Well, Grant, when you run a fire zone scheme, the idea of a fire zone scheme is to attack the opponent's protection scheme so that the quarterback has to bring the ball out hot. You're overloading the slide or the scram or scat side of the protection, and so the ball's got to come out. But the thing about it is, if I'm going to do that from a defensive perspective, or Robert's going to do that, you better rotate the secondary with emphasis quickly to the side to which you're bringing the pressure, forcing the ball to come out. And so when you have an invert safety coming down from 12 yards of depth, getting walled off by 2 receivers, breaking to the outside, that's not the impact you need to influence the effectiveness of the fire zone scheme. If I'm the Niners, what I would have done is I would have rolled up the corner on that side of the formation, squatted in the flat, knowing that the ball's going to come out more quickly and it's going to probably be an outcut breaking route away from pressure. And then I would have sliced an inside backer, driven across the formation, across the ball into the middle hook zone area where he could get to the apex of the number 2 deep receiver, and then now kick that safety over the top as opposed to try to invert that safety, and he never gets there because he's at a depth of 12 yards and he can't make it, and the ball's completed out in the flat for an easy 5, 7, 8 yards plus run after the catch. And so I think you go back to the days when Marino was starting to see that simulated pressure concept all the time. And they used to roll up to a cover 2 shell kind of look with a cloud rotation, and then Dan would have to pull the ball down because he couldn't throw the quick out, and then they ran the defender to the slant so that he couldn't throw the slant. And so we used to do the same thing to Elway all the time when we were playing with the Broncos, and we'd play a 2 shell off of it and slice the linebackers inside out to get to the slot receiver, roll up on the outside receiver, and take away all the options from where the quarterback can bring the ball out because he's overloaded with the protection. But Robert needs to he's got to have a different game plan come Saturday night. Otherwise, Seattle's going to light him up.
2 questions. Who's the best player on the Niners defense, and what does the Niners defense do best?
I look closely and examine things to find a defensive player who really is flashing right now in my mind. I look at the secondary, I look at okay, show me a shutdown corner, show me a guy who can make a play. I don't really see one. And to be honest, I don't think they really have a defensive player now who can be the quote-unquote bell cow of that defense, around whom you can hang, a leader's lanyard and say, this guy can rally us. I know you've got a couple players who are playing above their pay grade, and they're filling in admirably, but they're still they're not Fred, they're not Bosa, they're not those difference makers. They don't have an individual who can be a difference maker. So they have to rely upon everybody on defense.
Yep.
It's about this, and I told you before, it's about, alignment, assignment, and execution. You cannot afford to have any one player asleep at the wheel on any particular snap. And the other night, Caleb Williams found a couple guys asleep in the secondary, and the ball went over the top, beyond, and into the end zone, and it's instant 6 points. And against the Seahawks, you can't have that.